Good evening, and welcome to me, Years of Plastering I've. Welcome to the last with me, Years of Plastering, the last one this side of Christmas. Only 12 days left till Christmas, guys. Don't panic. Don't panic. I'm sure you've done all your shopping. Sure you got the wife or the girlfriend's present all sorted out, wrapped up under the tree, just like I haven't. Yeah. Anyway, hello everybody. Yeah, 12 days. It's kind of crept up a bit fast for me. Just kind of stuck my decks up on the tree and all that, just getting in a bit more into the mood for it. And it's going to be over soon, which probably ain't a bad thing, but yeah, looking forward to a nice holiday over the Christmas. I don't know how many of the guys work on site, but site's normally shut down good and proper till right into January. Let me know how long you're planning on taking off before you go back. I hope most of you are taking time off for Christmas, and I know there's some guys, evening mate, some guys that will work over the Christmas period, but come on guys, life's too short. Life's too short, unless you have got 2 or 3 wives to support, and kids and that, I understand, but other than that, yeah, so anywho, do you like me Christmas atmosphere here? We got snow, we got smoke coming out the chimney of me it's my daughter's new house. She's just moved in, well, moving in tomorrow with some help from you know who. Yeah, I'm gonna have a nice relaxing evening this evening. We're going to pop over to the pub as usual and have a little chat by the fire and yeah, talk about things that are occurring and what's going to be coming up after Christmas, and the fact that I might do a just after Christmas, because the next Ask the Plasterer is due to pop on about the 27th. So if I'm in the mood for that, keep it in the diary, and your buddy's not bursting out, or even if it is, I will send you the old link and click on that, and hopefully we might do a bit of Ask the Plasterer, or yeah, or just a catch up just after Christmas on the 27th, for it'll still be on holiday, hopefully. No one will be working, and yeah, see how things are gone. Okay, right, I think I've got my microphone on tonight so everyone can hear me. So far there's no lagging or anything going on in the live stream, so yeah, I think I've been out here long enough in the cold, pretty as it is. So we'll pop over to the Hawk and Trow, as I think I might call the pub from now on. I can remember where me cursor is. Oh, there it is. Right. That's better. Tell me if again, if it gets too rowdy in the background, then I shall turn. But no, I shall ask the people to quieten up and try and sing something different for a change when it comes to the Irish jigs. Right. Right, yep. Silver, he just finished his burgers in time. Well done, mate. Wayne, evening. Mark, how you Rick? I'm very well, mate. I'm very well. I've been kind of like not working, as in like plastering for a living, but I've been doing plastering around my daughter's house, helping them shift stuff for moving, bringing her old kitchen. Well, we've got delivery blokes that are moving her stuff tomorrow, bringing her old kitchen, which I took apart, over here because there's nothing wrong with it. I'm going to be putting it up probably over Christmas if my wife has her way. So that's what's going to be occurring here over Christmas. But yeah, I feel confident that I can get that done. But yeah, after the Christmas kind of meal and all that stuff's over with, I kind of just want to put my feet up and relax and play with any new toys that I might have got for Christmas. Up until I go back to work sometime in January. But I don't think I'm going to be allowed this year, and if I do, I will get in trouble. But we'll see. I'll keep you posted on that one. Yeah, evening Wayne, Mark. Yeah, any other good? Silver. Yeah, that'd be good. On 27th. Yeah. So but the next one is due on the 27th. So yeah, unless I completely forget in all the merriment, or but I'll put some kind of ping on me phone. Then I'll probably do a Christmas, just gone a post-Christmas Ask the Plasterer, and yeah, see what we got, see what prezzies we've got. We can share on the on Ask the Plasterer. Dear. Wayne, I saw Alex's video on timings, very informative. Thanks for the info. Yeah, no worries, mate. No worries. Yeah, you literally had that out that week that you asked about it, so it's worth doing that kind of stuff. Diggity, evening, me old matey. Yeah, loud and clear. That's what I like to hear. Wayne, what's your advice on bathrooms? Yeah, very good for washing in, Wayne. Absolutely, and sometimes I even have a shower. And I had one pre Ask the Plasterer today, and yeah, I think I had some dinner a little while ago now, so I'm ahead of the game tonight. I've had some dinner, I've had a wash, so yeah, it's all good. Sorry, bathrooms, yeah, boarding walls or tiling. When it comes to bathrooms, mate, I'm a fan of top to toe tiles, like floor to ceiling. Some people still do kind of like, let's put tiles around the bath or a shower area, and then maybe decorate the rest. But at least if you've got tiles everywhere, as long as you've got good ventilation, because outgoing mould is always a bit of an issue when it's somewhere along the line. Easy to clean down, and you won't get any issues with any paint maybe peeling off the plaster work after a while, or mould growth. Can be quite easy to get the old mould growth on the old plaster if it's in a bathroom. Even well ventilated bathrooms, the old black speckly mould is a killer. You've got to be so on top of that if it starts in a bathroom. But yeah, I'd go for tiling every time. But yeah, sorry mate, yeah, boarding walls for tiling. I have, used to put up, if you're really worried about water or water ingress or any kind of damp, you'd put up marine ply, like it would be in a shower unit, and then the tiles would be fixed to the marine ply. Nowadays people use hardy backer type stuff, any kind of like cement boards, which are all very good cement boards. Yet not an issue. I think I've got cement board in mine. I still get issues in there with it's one particular leaking issue. Even after I changed gutted the whole bathroom and put a new suite in, and I was still having issues in the same spot, and somehow water manages to get underneath the bath, which isn't fun when you decided to tile the side of the bath as well. But that's another story. But yeah, cement balls are fine. A lot of people obviously now buy the aqua panels put up quicker in a lot of cases than tiling. But I can't say that I've used a lot of them, because my bathroom's like a completely tile job. But if I redid it again at any point, I'd probably put aqua balls and stuff in the shower part of it. I'm smelling lovely. Cheers, mate. I'm pretty sure I can. Yeah, you're smelling pretty good yourself, mate. You have to give me the name of that aftershave. James, evening, mate. I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, very well indeed. I've had me, my daughter that's moving and my granddaughter over today, so that was nice. We will just watch the latest feed by Damp Sam. Info damp issue. What's Damp Sam? I've not heard of Damp Sam. Is that literally his channel or his name? I'll have to look at that, Silver. If that's if that's a good look at. Did you see? Have you seen my up the top here? I had I sent some info to Blaine about if he might be up for having an interview. You know, how he started out, why he started out as a spread, how and why, what inspired him to start his channel. Because he's pushing 50,000 subscribers or something, or not far off of it anyway. And didn't hear him back from him for a while, but it turned out he had been, I think he had been moving house or something along those lines. So, and he's a busy lad, and he's got quite a young kid as well. So, but he has come back to me, and he's very happy to do an interview. So, yeah, I'm just giving you some kind of future update on that. It probably won't do it till just after Christmas, like get Christmas out of the way. Yeah, but hopefully then Blaine is going to be on my airwaves through the old on the old After Plasterer podcast. It might be on the music podcast or the podcast of this, or probably both. The music podcast, if any of you have seen the kind of demo one I did, it's rubbish. And yeah, it needs a lot of work, but I'm going to do different types of genres on there, like what I've got here is going to be like a rock edition, and yeah, and I can do different types of editions, but I can put the same plastering news and interviews on there. And I was also thinking of maybe doing the guys that we know, might do a top 10 sort of countdown, and like whose channel's growing at what pace this week and what the subscribers are up to. Not the top 10 maybe in the country, but definitely my top 10. So that should be good for a crack. So that'll be coming soon. Diggity. Wait on a sec. Yeah, right. Diggy, have you ever turned down a job because it's too big when you first started? I've turned down jobs that are too big now, mate. I will go more or less and look at everything, but I went to look at course long time ago, this particular one over in Weybridge. But when I got there, they were like building 4 detached houses, and I don't know. I think initially they got the idea that I was a company rather than a one-man band. So I thought, yeah, I don't think you're going to want me to build these houses because it'll take me the next year or two to get them bashed out. Especially if I'm putting retarder in me mix. So yeah, but yeah, often I will look at jobs now, and if they're kind of look like the jobs that are a bit bigger than I want to take on, they're going to be too complicated, then I'll look at them. But yeah, I kind of turn them down at the end of the day, or make my excuses regarding how busy I am. And at the end of the day, I don't like to get stuck on any jobs that are too big, if that means other customers that are coming up, or potential customers, I have to say to them, "Oh, you've got a 6-month wait or something." I know some customers will wait that long if they know you or they've used you before and they know what good job they're going to get, and don't mind waiting, which is great. And the way things have been going, that's the kind of customers you need. I've had a few ones recently where I've been expecting baby stuff like in January, and I couldn't really do anything before January, so that was all a bit. Those kind of jobs I don't generally expect to get, but even if you put in a good price. Obviously, I want to try and get the place at least livable before the baby pops out, and then getting any building work done. As a lot of people know that having kids is a nightmare. Try and look after a baby, or the amount of sleep that you don't get isn't great. Stuff like that. Right. Ale? Sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. In rubbish. What's the rate to charge for plastering a 4 times 3 by 8 room? I tend to look at a job and work out what the material's going to cost and how many days I will be in there, and I will calculate it at my day rate, and give a fixed price for the job. yeah, generally if customers say to me, oh, how much would it be for a specific size room, I can't really tell them over the phone. So I'll go and I look at the job, say I assess how long it's going to take, and then I'll give them a fixed price quote for it. But it would vary depending on how tall the ceilings were and just the state of the plasterwork, what they want doing, whether they want, if they're back to brick, whether they want some proper floating and setting done, or whether they want dot and dab, or whether it's just a skim over job. And they want everything skimmed, which in most rooms, if there's sound, I'll do a skim job on. A lot of people, because you know, guys, in 99% of their houses, especially older ones, there's not a wall that you can't tap on where you can't find hollow spots. And like I say to my customers, if they are a bit wary of any particular hollow sounds in their walls, so that if you start hacking off everywhere you can find a hollow, you start taking plaster off left, right and centre. Not just in that particular room, but probably in every room in your house. And I've known guys that have done that and ended up taking their whole house back to the brick, which is fine if you want to throw money away or as a customer, putting all that kind of stuff back. And a guy that I did that for once, and on a day rate with another plasterer, and I thought he was crazy, but at the end of the day, if that's what the customer wants and they're going to pay, then that's what the customer gets. But yeah, it's all a bit crazy. I've lost my thread a bit there, mate. It's an age and tired thing. And probably getting a bit stressed about Christmas being only 12 days away. Dear. Wayne, can you explain about the Magic Mix, please? Magic Mix, mate, I don't ever really use. It's basically it's a mixture. Some guys use 50-50 bonding and skim to put the first coat on over like an Artex ceiling, and then they put their second coat and just use skim, but like multi-finish, whatever. And some guys use a 40-60 ratio. Some just put a couple of handfuls of bonding in. But I tend to, all my jobs, I put a neat coat of PVA up, and then I've done that. I let it dry completely. I bond it over just with bonding, and then when that's gone, I'll skim it. But yeah, I don't do the magic. One of the guys had a bit of an issue doing it a while back, and a lot of it started dropping down. But that could have been for numerous reasons. But at least I know when I've just bonded something with bonding, that once that bonding's set, and if I've done a good PVA job and there's nothing loose above it, it's going to stay there, and that's not going to give me any issues when I'm putting the skim on. Because if you do a Magic Mix and then comes to putting that second coat of just multi-finish on, start having any kind of issues, then there's not a lot you can do about it, except pray, probably. Yeah. I'm getting my money's worth this evening. I'll have to buy you a bar. Yeah, well, I'm busy at the minute, mate, because they're doing this, but as soon as we're done, we'll pop around the corner there. Or I might join in with the old singing as it goes. And yeah, I'll have a couple of pints. I quite like the old real ale now. I just used to be a lager and a cider type drinker, and I used to hate real ale when I'd ever tried it. And then I went on some kind of taster thing with a mate of mine who's into it all, and on this particular night I quite liked it, and I thought, yeah, I'll try it a bit more often, and got a proper taste for it now. I still love a lager and still love a cider, but I will drink some like really nice like real ales. So it's very nice indeed. Well, a packet of cheese and onion or salt and vinegar crisps, not the kettle ones though. I find them too crunchy. Teeth get dodgy as you go old. I like normal crispy crisps. I don't like the really hard kettle type chips. Well, I think they're really hard. Oh dear. Right, how am I meant to pronounce that? WXLLXM. I've recently got into plastering. Good on you, mate. I joined a solo plasterer and he's been teaching me the ropes. Went to do my first solo job Saturday as a favour to someone. Ceiling, and it was so bad. Oh, mate. Yeah, I'm gonna say, the first coat went on nice and flat. Second coat using a separate bag didn't take up ages, and then went off so fast. Didn't about that. So that's yeah. I mean, my technique mostly is and always has been, because I was taught it donkeys years ago when I started out was that my second I mix up enough gear normally that my second coat I use just thin down first coat. So I'll knock at my first coat, I'll whack that on, and the gear I've got left, I'll chuck a bit of water in that, thin it down. Second coat's always thinner anyway, or it should be, and then I put that one straight onto the top for my second coat for flattening out, and the whole thing goes off in one set, which is what I was taught it meant to do. Not meant to be separate sets going on top of each other. I don't think they would delaminate, but back then it was a case of like, well, if you start putting one on and it's starting to dry, or it's going off a lot, and then you stick another one on top of that, you're not really bonding together properly. But I'm not going to argue about that kind of stuff. Some people do, but I'm not that bothered. But yeah, so doing separate coats, that can cause you. I mean, a lot of guys do that because it gives you more. I think it gives you. Well, it's meant to give you more time when you put the second coat on, but it might be when you hit it. If that first coat is starting to really pull, and then you stick another fresh knock up load of gear on top of that, that could hang about for ages. It depends what you mean by ages. Like when you're quite new to plastering, or stuff going off fast as well. It can be. Excuse me. It's the old pretend beer coat. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what you could do there, mate. Really, could try doing similar to what I do, but put in a retarder in it, so that it's going off. It gives you an extra hour, but that does give you more time to then put down what's left of first mix to hit that second coat. But you have to be quite quick because although it goes off slower with a retarder in it, it still goes. As soon as you start mixing water into plaster that's starting to go, it still goes quicker than it was going previously. I don't think this is going to help you if you're fairly new to it. And putting on a ceiling, doing ceilings when you're fairly new, depending on how long you've been working with this guy and how much you've been doing it, is yeah, can be a bit of a pain. One of those dodgy. Yeah, so I don't know if that's helps you or not. For anyone that's just joined us and is not a regular and hasn't got a clue who the hell I am, I'm Eric the Plasterer. This is Ask the Plasterer. I've been a plasterer in South London for the last 37 years. There's not a lot I don't know about plastering. There's still a lot of people out there trying to tell me that I don't. But some new stuff I don't. I'm not into spray plastering. I don't particularly like sponge floating, but if you like it and it floats your boat, no pun intended there at all, then you crack on and do it, and that's absolutely fine. I just give advice to people from my experience and knowledge of plastering since I've been a plasterer, and stuff that works for me it work for you as well. But different guys have got different methods, and no method, if it works, is wrong in my opinion. So, yeah. Mick, have you tried sponge? Oh, sorry, mate. Yeah, I didn't read that before I said that. The only time I ever did sponge floating, Mick, was at when I was at college, and that was, as I say, well, that was donkeys years ago, and I never did it after I left there. I never did it out on the job. For me, I just found it was just having an extra thing to do that could prolong how long it took you to do a set, or the way I was taught to do sets anyway. Yeah, so what we've got there, Eddie. Yeah, so sorry, Mick, not good. I mean, there's lots of different guys you can look at their channels, whether it's Alex Morley, or some of the other guys out there that will tell you about sponge floating, the pros and cons of it, whether they do or don't do it, or did do it and now they don't do it anymore, or didn't do it and now they do it, but that's rare. Probably the other way around. But yeah, it's not something I'm keen on, sponge floating. But people that enjoy doing it and they like it and they got a good result, and customer pays them, and it's absolutely. Eddie, all right, my dear. Hi Rick, have you seen the reaction to Alex Morley's sponge float video from Dan Solo? Ooh, interesting. I did, mate. I was a little bit shocked. I didn't think Dan would be so quite jump down his throat quite as much as he did. Hello Dan, if you're watching this evening. Yeah, I don't like any kind of and I don't generally do it to people. I don't like doing comparisons of stuff. Oh, this against that, especially if it's like it's a product from two different guys or two different guys' styles of plastering, because that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to advise anybody that wants any kind of advice with plastering, Eddie. And yeah, if I haven't got something nice to say about someone's video, not necessarily plastering, any videos that I watch on YouTube. If I think oh they're rubbish, then I just go and try and find one that I want to watch. I can't be bothered. Oh mate, your video about the special effects and all that kind of stuff. Your video on special effects and how to ride a dinosaur was absolute rubbish. Because I don't really care. And it's the same with, I don't want to upset any of my plastering fraternity. I mean, you know, it's a good job being a spread. Everyone's spreads differently. Obviously, there are cowboys out there, but then you wouldn't really call cowboy spreads. Yeah, I haven't got time to give opinions about anybody that's plastering or whether the stuff they do is good or bad. I mean, I know Dan's never liked sponge floating or anything vaguely related to sponge floating, which is why I've mentioned him in the past when I'm kind of going, oh, yeah, sponge float is not my bag really at the end of the day. But yeah, but anyway, less said about that the better. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think Alex Morley's he's fairly nice about stuff and fairly polite and normally fairly well measured in what he's on his opinions on stuff. And then I like him. He's in my list of channels to watch. Okay. I'm a slow plasterer, so can I charge more because I take my time? Well, it's when when people would say to me, I'd like when I was doing that, like a sort of I'd give people the price for the day, and they'll go, oh, the fella, this other young fella, might not be a young fella, but this other guy that came round, he said he'd like to do it for £25 a day. I think, yeah, but I will probably do the whole job in a day, maybe two, depending how big it is. And your fella that's charging you £25 on a day rate per day, as he told you, he might be there for at least 2 weeks getting it done. In which case, it's not going to be cheaper. But I think most people realise that day and age. But yeah, if you could go, oh, well, I'm a bit slow, so I've got to charge more to make the money. Yeah, you just got to be careful not to take on any jobs that you're not confident to do, that at the end of the day are going to come out okay, and the customer's going to go, yeah, lovely, pleased with that. And you've left it nice and tidy as well. You ain't got no rubbish on your carpet. You haven't left rubbish outside the back door and the front door, taking it with you. Then that's good, and you'll do all right. But yeah, no, sadly, you can't charge more because you're slower. You just have to get quicker. I was just say you can use a retarder. I often use a retarder now just to slow my sets down, so I can go a bit slower. But yeah, if you're newer to plastering and you can put a retarder in your plaster, so it gives you an extra hour before the gear starts pulling in on you. So gives you that extra time to to sort it out. Also, if anyone's watching on their telly box at home as opposed to on their phones, you can ring me in the studio, in the pub. Sorry, doing that on 07516 214 983, 07516 214 983. If your number comes up, then I will probably answer you. If it comes up as withheld, possibly won't. Just in case you're a very rude troll. Dear. Right. So when I take half a ceiling with my boss, it looks great. I have no trouble. I explained the job to my boss and he suspects it could be a dodgy bag of plaster. It can be, mate. William. All right, William. Yeah. It could be a dodgy bag. If you have got a dodgy bag, that can just suddenly go on you. They normally tend to go while you're still mixing them up. You kind of think, oh, normally thinner than this, and you add a bit more water, and as fast as you're adding more water to it and mixing it, the quicker it seems to be getting. And if it ever does do that when you mix it in the bucket, especially if it's a big bucket and a whole bag, get it out of the bucket as quickly as you can. It's going to go like a rocket in about 5 minutes, and it'll get really hot as well. But yeah, it could have been an off bag, mate, at the end of the day, which obviously, like I say, is not going to help at all. Eddie, I didn't miss any questions in the, they're just double checking. No, good. Right, sorry, Eddie. I always two coat the way I was talking. Yeah, Eddie, would you? I two coat though, but would you two coat to do like one coat and then let that pour and then knock up a fresh load of gear for the second coat? I think that is what you do, Eddie, isn't it? Memory serves me. Which is absolutely fine, mate. Loads of people do that. I know that Stuart Roberts, he prefers. I think he's tried the getting the two coats out of one mix, but he don't like doing it, and it does, yeah, gives you a bit less time, obviously. But then I like to get my jobs bashed out as quickly as I can. So I don't want to have to stay in a job longer than I have to. Not that I don't enjoy plastering, but you know, we're going to be doing it every day, so yeah, get in there, get the job done. Nice job, get paid. On to the next one, or have some time off, especially weekends if you can. Mick, hello Mick. Do you use Rafina Neela Ox Flexi trowels? So your thoughts on so many different trowels. I use, for laying on, mate, I use a classic Marshalltown, like pre-worn, just so it's already halfway there when it comes to the nice edge on the blade and the points not being really sharp on the end without having to nip them off yourself. And I use an Ox Ultraflex for that final swipe over the lot at the end of the day. Other than that, I will just stick with those basically until one or the other of them gets damaged or beyond use, and then I'll buy a new one. I might venture out and get something different and try it. But I tend to be one of those guys, if I've got used to something and I know it's good and I'm happy with it, trowel wise, I'll just buy the same one again, which some people might find a bit boring. It's only really worth buying lots of trowels, in my opinion. And I mean, I've got different size ones, obviously, fantastic, getting into different kind of spaces. But if you're reviewing trowels on a channel like this, the guys that do a lot of tool reviews, or the plasterers that do tool reviews, then fair enough, yeah, you buy them and do a review on them, or you might, as having a couple of cases, be given a trowel if I do a review on it. And but other than that, I haven't got a collection of, you know, on this type of trowel, that type of trowel, you know, either gold one and black ones and plastic ones and all the rest of it, because my day-to-day work, I don't really need them. I just need my Marshalltown and my and that one flexi trowel. And I've only been using a flexi trowel in very recent years. Everything used to be done with just my Marshalltown at the end of the day, but I was finding you can get a really nice finish off with the old right at the end, finishing off with a flexi trowel or a semi-flexible trowel, as opposed to something as rigid as a Marshalltown. Yeah, so that's it, basically my opinion on the old trowels. But there's some good trowels out there. People have got different opinions. If you watch the reviews, or if you want to build a collection of trowels, but decent ones, because they're like 40, 50, 60, 100 quid at the time. I don't go out like collecting a bunch of them. Then it'd be, which ones shall I leave in the garage, or which ones shall I take out? And if you need more in your motor and your motor gets done over, and you lose all of them. So yeah, at least if you only got 2 trowels and they do get nicked, only lost 2 trowels. This is also a plus. Mark, all right, mate. Yeah. If you haven't anything good to say nothing. Yeah, that's my opinion, mate. I don't like the anything like that. It's just even if someone gives you constructive criticism. I mean, I've had constructive criticism before, whether it's about plastering or anything else in my life, and it's hard to take, even if you know, like, yeah, the guy's a particular guy's got a point about something he might have said about me, on something I do, whether it's to do with plastering or whatever. And it'd be a good idea for me to, do what they do what he says, or change what I'm doing in any particular way. But whether that's right or wrong, it's still hard to take. Criticisms are hard to take, whether it's constructive or not. So obviously, as soon as you compare something or someone, or say something's not right about something, you're going to upset the other person or the other guy who makes a different product to the guy that you're comparing the two products against. And some people will do that for clicks and for their channel. They'll literally build a channel on slagging people off. I don't just mean plastering, I'm talking about any kind of YouTube channel out there. And just not my ball game at all at the end of the day. I like to be here for, like, when it comes to plastering, here for advice. We've got this, we've got the forum on the Discord server. I haven't got the head up for that now, but I will be plugging it again soon, guys, probably after Christmas. There's only about 50 of us on there now, but it's nice, we all get to know each other. People can ask me and each other questions. I don't have to answer everybody on that. And it's just nice. You haven't got to wait for Ask the Plasterer to come round or make a comment on one of the videos. You can just get hold of me or any of the other guys that are here tonight. A lot of those are on it. Most of them are on it. And we get some nice. I hate the word banter. To be honest, at the end of the day, a lot of people use that as an excuse for slagging people off and call it banter. We have some good old chats on there. Put pictures up of our work. We ask each other questions, and it's nice. And all my videos have got a link. This Discord server. It's Ask the Plasterer Discord server. And if you click on that link that's in all my videos, it will send you an invite, and you just follow the instructions of the invite. And it's an app. It's a great app, and it don't cost nothing. And hop on there and get stuck in. How much do you recommend a markup upon the material? 30. It's been a bad of mine to not really do a decent markup on material. I mean, I do put in my quotes that I'm charging people for carriage, because you've got to go and pick the gear up and take it to their house, or wherever you're going with it. That does need to be taken into account, and that I do to some degree. But I should, as if you're a good businessman, you will work out a proper percentage and take that, whether it's 20, 30 or 100% on anything you do like that. I'm not a great businessman, so I'd be like, okay, the bag of the bags, well, say a little while back, a bag of finish was £5. It's not anymore, sadly. And then I'll go, I'll charge them £8 a bag, or whatever, or maybe £10 a bag. They would vary, but a sensible guy will put a percentage on it, but I don't have a specific percentage personally that I stick on top of the material. You just got to make sure you allow for things, and a lot of people don't. When it comes to pricing jobs, that if you're self-employed, there's no holiday pay, there's no sick pay. You got to run your motor, tax, insurance, petrol, all that kind of stuff. Especially when you go on jobs that are further away. If you've got quite a lot of local jobs, lovely. But if you're travelling an hour plus to get to a job, even if it's an hour plus because of the traffic, then you need to allow for that. Otherwise, you'll end up as rich as me, which is pushing 60 and no real sign of retirement in the near future. So it's good to be sensible and work that kind of stuff out properly, which I haven't over the years. Patrick, hello mate. What's the best all-round trowel? The best trowel, in my opinion, because it's classic and it's been around for donkey's years, Marshalltown. Still Marshalltown trowel. The stainless steel ones are very pretty. They last longer. They are harder. The carbon steel ones are nice because they rust. Unless you literally oil them, if you dry them and oil them every time you put them away. Because they rust, they wear in quicker. Because as soon as you rub the rust off, you're wearing the trowel down. In a good way when it comes to blades and stuff. I mean, the sharpest trowel I ever had was a worn down carbon trowel, and it was literally like and this wasn't a flexible like flexi trowel. This was just a proper like land on Marshalltown, and it was like a razor. You don't like just even touch the end of it with your finger, and finger slid slightly, slice straight through. But yeah, Marshalltowns are the classic, and I will always buy a Marshalltown trowel for most of my laying on and most of my troweling up until it gets to the final stages, where I'll take a flexible trowel over it. So in that opinion, but yeah, you can't go wrong with a Marshalltown. Don't buy cheap trowels that aren't like proper plastering trowels if you're serious about getting a good result. Whether you're a serious plasterer, or whether you're a DIYer, or whether you're starting out in plastering, decent tools, you've got more chance of getting a decent job if you're not so hot on the plastering initially. Got the proper trowel, put the gear on with. If you're new to plastering and you buy some B&Q type trowel for a £5, though you can use it, though a good plasterer can use that kind of trowel if he had to, but generally doesn't want to or wouldn't. But if he was really stuck, if he popped a rivet on and he didn't have another one with him, and the customer said, "Well, I've got a brand new," no, they probably wouldn't actually. They'd probably go out and go, "That's all right, mate." Shoot up the road and quickly try and get hold of a new like Marshalltown or some kind of decent trowel. But that's my opinion. Best all-round trowel is Marshalltown. Carbon steel, say they wear in quicker, or stainless steel and get a pre-worn, which saves you a lot of work. Wayne, what's the difference between hardwall and bonding? Best on top of brick. Do you then scratch it out before applying the multi-finish? I've mostly used bond. I mean, years ago I used to use browning and bonding was for concrete and browning was for bricks. But browning kind of died out because it was doing two types of job. If you're going across the wall that had lintels and stuff in, you do all the bricks with browning, but you will go over the lintel because browning won't stay stuck to a concrete lintel for the suction, to the lack of suction. And let's get this mixed up now. The hard wall is better for low suction. Is that right, my man? Not for high suction. I can never remember because I used some hard wall a little while ago, but I rarely use it. I don't really like the texture of it, but that's because I got so used to working with bonding as a backing coat that I don't tend to use hard wall unless there's no bonding available, in which case I will. But yeah, hard wall tends to hang around a bit longer. Bonding, if you don't mix it really well, it can start going lumpy a bit near the end of the tub. If you're mixing it in a tub and taking it straight from the tub and not putting it on a spot wall first. Which is the best on top of brick? Do you know? I don't. Whether I'm using bonding or browning, I don't generally tend to do a scratch up, a devil float over it. But that's just me. A lot of guys will devil float, not just render, but which most of you know, like a devil float is like plastic float, or nowadays you just stick a little screw. I only ever use one. Say about 4 of them in. I only use about one in the corner. I think for just how much it sticks out through the plastic trowel. And when you're rubbing up with the plastic trowel, that gives you the key in your plaster. But yeah, I'll do that on render, but I don't tend to do it on bonding or on hardwood anymore because the chemical, what I found over the donkey's years, the chemical bond between skim and those backing plasters, it's not just going to fall off because it hasn't got a mechanical key. The chemical key is like pretty solid at the end of the day. So yeah, so I personally, I'd use the old bonding, yeah, rather than hardwall. But if guys use hardwall all the time, they prefer to use that. I can understand from its texture why some guys might prefer it because it did remind me quite a lot of what browning used to be like, but not quite. But Mick, when pricing, do you charge day rate price for complete job? Mick, I do price for a complete job. If I'm doing a room, for example, I will do a quote for that room. It includes material, carriage of material, labour, push bang. And at the bottom of my quote, it says this is due for payment on completion of the work. Basically means as soon as that room's finished, I'm expecting to get paid for it, not in a month's time or a week's time. And if I'm doing more than one room, if I'm doing a whole house for someone, I will give them a separate quote like that for every room in the house. It isn't a big deal to do. And each quote says that on the bottom. And when they pay me so I'll do a room, I'm splashing out whatever the material is for that, which isn't a big risk for one room, the amount it comes to. Just, let's face it, it's the skill they're paying for at the end of the day rather than material. And I will do that, bash it out, and I'll say, yep, great, you can get that money into my account, and I can crack on with the next room. And that way you don't ever really get any issues about getting paid. You know, they want you to carry on with the next room, so they make sure they put that money in the bank. Let's face it, you can transfer money in 5 minutes with banking apps and stuff now, which is how most of my customers pay me. And yeah, so you get through the house and you're getting paid each room at a time is what I do. When the house is finished, I'm good. I would never, as some guys do, and obviously if you're running a small company, you've got guys working for you, it's a different kettle of fish, and they will do like maybe a whole house, and then hopefully they will get their money for doing it, or for most of it. But if you do take on a whole house, or especially as a one-man band, and you do kind of get paid later on for a huge chunk of it, and then there's any issues or you don't get paid, then you potentially could have lost all that time and money spent in that house. So that's what I do. I quote for individual rooms, even if it's all in the same place, and get paid for each room as it's finished. So also then I'm not sending out a separate invoice and anticipating people not paying me for a month, because most people assume invoices don't have to be paid for a month. And yeah, and I've done that most of my career. Maybe not very early on, but I learned that you're better off to do it that way. So that's my advice to you, Mick. Eddie, you have missed 5 questions. Have I missed 5 questions, mate? Oh, I'm getting bad, aren't I? Hang on, let me look back up here. Half a ceiling dirt. Eddie always did 2 coats. Mick, do you use refiner rubber? Mark, you're right, I haven't got anything good to say, don't say it yet. Oh, hang on, sorry, Eddie. Have you got to use the ball nose tool yet? No, I haven't, mate. It's sitting by the front door since I got it. And the missus has gone to me, what do you bought that for? I said, it's for doing ball noses. I said, up to this point, I've never had a specific tool to help you do a ball nose. And, that was a waste of money. I said, well, I just haven't had a ball nose job to do yet. And it was funny, like 15 quid. And from, I think it was you, Eddie, that bought one, wasn't it? And you seem to have a good result from it, so that's why I bought one. I'm looking forward to using it, but I haven't used it yet, mate. No. What else have I missed? Hang on. I've used the ball nose thing. No, I do the same as you and water down what's left on the second coat. Top man, Eddie. Yeah, that's in my opinion only. And I'm not always right. The best way to do it, mate. It's quick and it's and I think, well, if I was taught it like 30 odd years ago, it must be right, because it would have been old plasterers teaching me how to do it. The same ones that taught me how to, I didn't stick with it, do floor laying, run cornice on a bench, run cornice on a wall, which I found fascinating, but not something I wanted to do on a regular basis. And tiling and all that all came under the remit of being a plasterer. Now it's not, and most of those things I don't want to do either. I just want to do float, set, boarding, bit of rendering. I don't mind if it's internal. I don't like doing outside rendering. Don't really do it anymore because the weather's so unpredictable. I don't want to book in a week's job working outside and it rains for that week and take an unpaid week off. So yeah, I just don't do it, apart from if I've got a real regular customer that might beg me to do something small and needs rendering. If it's something big, then at the end of the day, you're better off to get a company in that does only rendering, does all outside work, doesn't really do inside work, because they will do a pucker job in half the time it would take, well, a quarter of the time it would take me to do it. Have I missed any more? Hang on, early on before I carry on there. Do the same as me, top man. How much do you recommend a markup on the material? Yet done that. Patrick, sorry mate, what's the best way to talk? Oh no, I did answer that one, didn't I? Yeah. What's the difference between hardball and bonding? Prices. Eddie, I've missed 5 questions. Hopefully, if I've missed any more, Eddie, yeah, let me know. I don't know what I've missed. When using Magic Mix over Artex, brand and skim same day, or do you need to PVA? Who does it not bubble? Mick, if I using the Magic Mix over Artex, skim same day one. Sorry mate, I'm getting old, Mick, so it takes my brain a while to work out that I'm reading it properly. When using Magic Mix over Artex, what's the brown? I'm not sure what you mean by brown in there, brackets. And skim same day. 1, do you need to PVA? 2, does it not bubble? As I say, I don't use a Magic Mix. I only use bonding, and I'll put that up on over my Artex. Which, if you ever do buy a Carter Easy Skim trowel, they're great for putting bonding over Artex ceilings just because of the way they work. But I don't really use it too much for anything else, not currently anyway. Where was I? Yeah, if I'm going to skim it the same day, I don't put nothing else over it. Once the bonding's gone hard enough, I can put a skim over it. Hard as in like you can't dig your finger in it or move it, but it's starting to go. Or even if it's gone like completely dark brown, that's still wet enough to put a skim over the top without putting any PVA on it. If it's the next day, or it won't normally be much after that, but if it was the next day or after, I will then also put on one neat coat of Unibond of PVA, and I use the cheapest B&Q PVA and have done for years, or any cheap PVA I can get. I always put on one coat of it, and I always put it on neat, unless it's ridiculously thick. But obviously the cheaper PVAs aren't thick, so I put one coat down, let it dry completely, and away I go, and then skim it, and it's absolutely fine. So hopefully that answers your question on that one. As I say, I don't ever use the Magic Mix when I'm going over Artex or ceiling or anything. I bond it and then I skim it. Okay, hang on. And I don't generally tend to get bubbles, so as long as you don't play with something too much, or put a metal blade speed scheme over it while it's still wet. You shouldn't get any blistering or bubbles occurring. Sometimes you will get bubbling just for no reason I've ever been able to lay my finger on, but as long as it's controllable and you can get them out at the end of the day, then fine. But just got to be careful you isn't too wet, your undercoat isn't too wet, or your PVA is not too wet. The only times I've ever had issues with plaster sliding, which normally would happen in the winter time, as if I've used PVA possibly watered down. Again, I'm going back years. I haven't done it for so long, and then put it on while it's still just tacky, as opposed to it's gone off proper. I've never had an issue if my PVA has gone off properly, and then skimmed it. And I have. If I've ever had issues, it's always been because the PVA was still tacky. So that's why I don't go over it when it's tacky. So it should be fine. And I think back in the day it was kind of, wait till it gets tacky, water it down, wait till it gets tacky, and then go over it. But I found I've had a lot more joy over the last at least 20 odd years of that'd be more than that, of letting my PVA go off completely, and then I've skimmed over whether it's old skim or old walls, days or weeks after that PVA's been put on, and it still works a treat. Right. Is it really necessary to put 2 coats onto plasterboard? Some say just 1 coat is sufficient. What's your opinion? Some stuff, whether it's been plasterboard or an original plaster wall that you're going over that's been PVA'd, you can make 2 coats is the technically the proper way to do it. And again, there'll be a lot of videos that this has come up quite a lot recently, because I've always said that if you can do one coat on something, or if you get caught short because the gear is going off, and the only way to finish a wall off that's got one coat on it, to make sure it's nice and flat and it's all troweled up and it's smooth, and so when it's finished it looks pucker and you can't tell the difference between that or a 2-coated wall, then do that. I've done walls where most of the time I'm doing 2 coats because I'm using the second one to help flatten it out. It just makes the job easier. I suppose since the advent of the old speed skims being used, it's a lot easier to use one of those on the wall and get them smoothed out so quickly that yeah, sometimes you don't need to put that second coat on the top, and you can get away with a good looking one coat. And then, again, some plasterers will argue that it's not as strong, or it's not as flat, or it's not as smooth. I learned early on. Came out of basically college and went to start working on site. I mean, I'd worked on sites before that as a labourer. You guys know fun. It wants to be a spreads labourer, especially if you're labouring for 2 or 3 spreads. That's a killer, mate. It's easier to be a spread than it is a labourer or 3 guys, especially if they're good and they're fast. And I'm losing my thread now. What was I going to talk about? Set outside. This isn't helping. I shouldn't joke, just in case I have got it. Yeah, no, I've always lost my thread. But sooner to go off even vaguely on a bit of a tangent, I forget what I was talking about. That's the only thing wrong about being an old plasterer. You might know a lot as long as you can remember it. Yeah. No, it's bugging me now. Bear with me, guys. Sorry. Oh, that was it, yeah. 1 coats or 2 coats on stuff. Yeah, I don't think we've gone past that one, have we? And yeah, if it all looks good at the end of the day. Oh, that was it. Yeah, when I left college and I was doing everything by the book, which by the book then meant you put 3 coats of skim on a wall, not 2, 3. First 2 you put on with first one you put on with a metal trowel. Would have been a Marshalltown. Second one you put on with a wooden float, because it's got as rigid as you can get. And you're talking about a thick piece of wood on a wooden float. That's floating years. And then because there's no flexibility in it, you know that the wooden float was putting on a nice flat coat with each stroke you put on. And then when that had picked up enough, you were putting the 3rd coat back on with a metal trowel. And anyway, because as soon as I got on site, I was using that technique, and the foreman or the boss came in and went, "Look, mate, I'm not being funny, but we ain't got time for you to mess about with this 3 coat malarkey. Get a couple of coats on the wall, get it smooth, get it flat. If it's acceptable, then absolutely fine. You get your day's money, and see you tomorrow. But if you're messing about and it's going to take you that long, then you're no good to us whatsoever." And yeah, so from that day on, I was kind of taught, like, you've got to do a quality job but in little time as possible. If you, especially working on sites or for big building companies, you can't be messing about with stuff. Because I had a lot of one-day jobs because I was just too slow when I came out of college, and you can be really good. You get something really flat and smooth, and on a piece of wall that's about 1 metre wide and 3 metres high. But if you had to do a whole room, and the guy on the site has done a whole room, and you've done one wall, you're not going to keep that job for more than a day. But anyway, so 1 coat and stuff. Right, hopefully I haven't missed any other questions in the meantime of all that waffle I've just been doing then. Amin, I have difficulty making the wall smooth, although I use the speed skim after the 1st coat. Please advise, how long should I wait after putting the paste on the wall before starting to make it smooth? If you, assuming you're using like a multi-finish or something along those lines, then when I'm using a speed skim, I put my 1st coat on the wall, make sure I've covered the whole wall, and then I'll use a plastic blade speed skim. Whether you don't use a metal blade that's that early over wet plaster, it will just draw the water to the surface, and you will get blisters galore going on. and it'll take forever to go off as well, and you won't get a good finish. I use a plastic blade over it. More or less, as soon as I've got that whole wall covered, I will run the blade along it from the top. I'll go along, come down, go along again, and then I'll go up from the ground, upwards, and from the top down to make sure you've covered the wall in every direction with the speed skim, and then just leave it. If it's very wet still after that, don't keep doing that. Move on to start to put the next bit of wall on if you're doing another wall. If not, just stand back and give it a little while before you crack on with putting your second coat on. So that's normally when I would then water down what I've got left when I've finished a particular set that I'm doing, and then I'll start to lay on my second coat to really flatten out what I've done and what I've smoothed off with the speed skim. And I only use a metal blade speed skim when I get to putting water on to the wall, with my spray, or I will use a metal blade on it. Can still use a plastic blade for doing that as long as the wall is starting to really pull, as long as the wall is wet enough. Otherwise, the plastic blade speed skim then will start dragging if you're not careful. Let's say the plastic blade opens up the texture, helps it to dry. The metal blade brings water to the surface. So when you're finishing off a wall and putting water on it, that kind of that part of the set, then metal blade absolutely fine. And then I leave that for a little while till it's fairly hard to touch, and then I'll go over it with my flexible trowel to finish off. Hopefully, I mean that will get you a better finish at the end of the day. But obviously, anything like that you have to practice. Gandalf, hello mate. Mick, going back to one coat on plasterboards, I do site work, fill joints out, 2 coats, plaster, same mix. That's what I was taught. Yeah, 2 coats of plaster with the same mix is what I was taught 37 years ago, and what I've more or less done ever since. I've never done a top coat and then that's going off, knock up a fresh bag and gone over it. Not for anything else, because it would just make the set take at least another hour to do. Which, if that's what you want, then that's when I would whack some retarder in what I'm using, slow it down. Yeah. And of course, you're using less plaster on the same amount of wall. At the end of the day, do it that way. Have you tried render mesh on old cracked walls, thinking of giving it a go? Yeah, well, absolutely nothing wrong with using it, Mick, at the end of the day. The only place I've used the render mesh is doing a rendered wall. I think one of my videos using it, and yeah, one bit where it kind of all falls off, but I've left it in so you can watch that a bit. If you watch my rendering in direct sunlight, I think the video's cool, and I use a render mesh there. Yeah, if I mean, even now, generally, if you've got cracking on a wall and it's solid, and you just don't want those cracks to hopefully not reappear. I've just used the normal 2-inch fiberglass sticky tape over the top of those. But yeah, so obviously, if you put a mesh, I mean, sometimes I've used a lot of tape on a wall without a lot of cracks in it, but it was solid. It's a crack. But yeah, if you put a mesh over a whole wall, it's obviously going to be a lot stronger, a lot less chance of cracking. Of course, it's just a little bit more messing about and extra expensive. Excuse me, whatever the render mesh costs you. But if you're allowing it in your price and the customer's paying for it, then it doesn't matter. So yeah, give it a go, mate. Give it a go. There's nothing. Yeah, it's definitely there's no disadvantage to using it. No disadvantage at all. It's yeah, quite good stuff, and you can get all sorts of different thicknesses as well. Especially if it's going to be internal, under skin, then I'd tend to buy the thinner stuff as opposed to some of the thick stuff you can buy on external walls. Oh dear, yeah, I'm gonna have to take off some of this stuff. I don't know these some of these things that they pop up there even work as links to look at, but no, really these weird looking links, guys, because they're just to take you to some dodgy old site. Right, hang on. Lee, hello Lee, nice to see you, mate. Hang on, make sure I haven't missed anybody that's gone up the screen too far. Oh, hello Matthew, mate, nice to see you. Do-do-do-do. Mick, have you tried render mesh yet? I've just answered that one, mate, haven't I? Yeah, said Luke, hello Lee, yeah. What did you think of my Italian plaster? That looked lovely, that, mate. Italian plaster. I thought at first you just, when I glanced it, I thought, oh, he's polished up that skin well. And then I realised what you'd done. But yeah, look, pucker, mate. Look, pucker. I don't think I've had the time or the inclination to do it. I've watched other people do it and go, oh wow, that's great. How'd you do this and how'd you do that? I quite like the stuff they do when they do that marbling of stuff to make plaster look like it's marble, which I find fascinating. I've just not something I ever get the time to have a go at in my life. Time is of the essence, mate. But yeah, it looked brilliantly. Loved it, mate. Loved it. Matthew, yeah, hello, Matthew. Priscilla, yeah, we'll ignore that one. Wayne. Oh, right, where are we? Sorry, mate. Yeah, Wayne, thanks for your advice. No worries, mate. That's what I'm here for. Christmas. I'm sure everyone here wants to have a happy Christmas. Hey, and a happy New Year. I'm off down the pub. Oh, have a lovely one down the pub, Wayne. And if you ain't gone already, mate, I'll speak to you again soon. Or if you're not on the Discord already, make sure you get on it, mate. So you can that to me and the other guys on there. Mick, thanks for the chat. All the best, keep safe. Yep, and you, Mick, thanks for coming along, mate. We'll see you again. I'll be back in a fortnight's time on this one. I mean, what would you do in this scenario? Wall plastered, but the final result after drying has some noticeable waves. Another coat from scratch, or try to repair with sanding machine. Depends where the job is, whether it's for a customer, whether it's in your own house. Depends how bad it is. In some cases, you might be able to sand it off relatively easily. I mean, because if it's dried, then new plaster is fairly soft. If it's got any paint or anything on it. If you needed to try and sand the waves out of it, if it's still wet and it's going to take a few days to dry, then your best bet, from a time perspective, is to PVA it. And this is something I do. Some guys go, oh, you skimmed over a skim. But yeah, I've done that lots of times. Normally when I've been plastering over other plasterers' work that particularly up to scratch. Yeah, put a neat cut of PVA on it, let it dry, and and skim it again. Unless you've got time to wait for it to dry enough to be able to sand it. But again, depends how bad the waves are. If the waves are really bad, even if it's dry, you might be better off to just to re-skim it. But really depends on the particular job. Okay. For anyone that's just joined us, I'm Eric the Plasterer. I've been a plasterer for 37 years in South London, and this is Ask the Plasterer, and I am here to answer any of your plastering related questions. You can also, if you want to, ring the studio on this number, or ring the pub, sorry, on this number 07516 204 983. Which you probably only do if you're watching me on the TV. Because normally if you're watching on the TV, unless you've got some fancy tech, not normally type anything in, but you can ring. And the guys that are watching me on their, or talking to me on their phones by typing, they're not going to come off of YouTube to ring me. So but it's handy to have, and it's nice to get a different voice on there apart from me. I don't mind it, but regulars, a lot of them come here and literally stay on with me until about 8:30. And I love them for that. Keeps me company. Right, have I missed anything here? I'll tell you what, let's have a change of... Well, I say a change of scenery, just a slight change of outlook. Here we go. Right. Oh, by the way, while I'm here, the Easy Mix giveaway, you can still, if you go onto the Easy Mix site and put your details on the contact sheet, your email, your address, your name and all the rest of it, you'll still be with a chance of winning some of these great prizes that are being given away every single day in December, which also includes the possibility, because one person's going to win this gaming chair, which will be quite pucker. So yeah, just letting you know you can still enter that, guys. It's not too late. In quite a few of these rubbish ones. Right. I mean, what would you do in this scenario? Oh yeah, sorry mate, I just answered that. Yeah, quite rubbish one. Lee, nice one, thanks buddy. No worries, Lee. Smash it if you tried it. Yeah, maybe mate. Maybe. Probably will give it a go at some point in my life. If I'm not too old by then. James, do you use plasterboard props? Oh yes, mate, all the time. I think they're great. What's your opinion? Yeah, if I get to a job and I realise I've left my plasterboard props indoors because I was using them to hold the green screen up, then oh no. Hopefully, if it's a local job, I will drive home and get me props. I don't really want to go into B&Q and buy them in there because they're not. Yeah, they're about between 15 and 20 quid for one. I think you could at least sell them as a pair rather than yeah. It was one plasterboard props no good to anybody, is it? But yeah, mate, they're brilliant because you can get the board up there, get it right properly in place exactly where you want it before you start whopping screws in it. And back in the day when we used to do tacking with nails, if you were just like holding stuff up there, or you kind of wedged it like a T-piece, like you had a big piece of wood, another piece on top, and you basically get it and you hold the plasterboard up there and you wedge that in to hold it. So it basically took away, so you can whack your nails in, or nowadays screws. And even then you might wedge that in, you think, oh, it's slightly, could do with being kind of tilted slightly this way or slightly that way. But at least with those props, you can get it dead where you want it, give them a squeeze, prop it up, hold them nice and tight in place, pop your screws in and drop them down and move them to the next one. So yeah, props, plasterboard props, love them. A big thumbs up from Eric the Plasterer on plasterboard props. You can buy machines that lift up whole plasterboards, can't you? But I think, yeah, I'm not going to be taking those into little houses, even though some of them are kind of portable. But yeah, a couple of thin props that you can shut down really small, much easier. Good do. I mean, thanks, mate. Yeah, no worries, mate. Wonderful tips. Cheers, my dear. Lee, yeah, what's that with the Easy Mix, mate? Is that a competition? Nicely. Have you not seen my advert? It's been out since before Christmas. Before Christmas, isn't it? It's been out since the last week of November. That's yeah, Easy Mix, guys. They are giving away like on the first day of Advent, which is obviously gone now. It was kind of like 10 bags, and then each day it's that amount again with an extra bag. And I don't know what it's up to now. I think the last guy got 20 bags. You basically you go on their website, you fill in the contact form, and then you are automatically in the draw. If you get pulled out of the draw, whatever day it is, however many bags, because obviously as the month progresses, as the more bags of Easy Mix they're giving away. So like by coming up to Christmas Eve, they're like giving away like 100 bags of Easy Mix of your choice for nothing, basically, and the chances of winning are pretty good. So, but each day there's more and more Easy Mix added. So leading up to that 100. But also on, I think it's on Christmas Eve, they will be doing the gaming chair. It's a brand new Pucker gaming chair they're giving away, and also they've got t-shirts now and the Albini hats, of which I'm not wearing mine this week. Oh, hang on, I'll put it down here. Hang on. Yeah, there we go. Draw your sets and make more money with Easy Mix. Back to front and see-through, but not on the proper in real life. Only on the telly box. Yeah, and yeah, so you got a chance to be winning those as well. All you've got to do is go onto their website and fill in the contact form. Simple as that. And yeah, you have a chance to win some stuff. So, for those of you that hadn't noticed in the jibber jab on the bottom of the screen, I've got for my Plasterer's music podcast that I'm trying to do. That's going to have plastering news and interviews. I'm setting up an interview with Blaine Gray to ask him all about yeah, how he got into plastering, why he got into plastering, about his channel, how he started it, how he's doing so well, and any tips or tricks that he's got. So that'll be an interview that I will record with him probably just after Christmas, and then it will be either on the podcast of this show, we'll probably be on this anyway, and also on the music podcast, which will only be available on Spotify, but at least there'll be music, me jabbering on, and plastering news and interviews on there. I'll also be doing interviews with Stuart Roberts as well, and hopefully with Alex Morley, with Joel as well, Joel Coates of Rendabate, and yeah, just to get their hints, tips, and just so you can hear from the horses' mouths about about their plastering, about their channels, and about just stuff in general. So yeah, it's all good, all good. Right. Easy competition. Right. Okay. Lee, how do I do it? I've explained that, haven't I? Blackest eyes, hello, mate. I've got a bad hard bit of skin on top of my head. From holding balls. It does, yeah. It does. You do get a kind of a. I think your head just gets harder in that bit there. I don't think there's much skin between the skull and the plasterboard. But back in the day when you were literally holding it with your head while you were banging nails in it or putting screws in it, it's awful. But at least if you're only doing that for a second now or when I'm doing it until I get my props in, and then nice to just take the head away. Oftentimes, because I only use 6x3s in old money, I can kind of hold it up there with one hand while I put my props in, rather than having to keep holding it with my head. But yeah, I know exactly what you're saying about that. Oh dear. Lee, no, I ain't, mate. I've been so busy. Just had another kid. Oh, flipping hell, Lee. Yeah, that would keep you busy, mate, with sleepless nights and all that. Have you ever listened to Josh Widdicombe and old Ace podcast, Parenting Nightmares, because they both got young kids. Oh man, how can his name go out of my head? Josh Widdicombe and the other geezer. It'll come to me in a minute. Flipping hell, this is bad. Josh Widdicombe and if anyone's listened to the podcast, you'll know what I mean. It'll come to me in a minute. But anyway, yeah, it's all about what it's like to have young kids and the hassle that it can cause you, and the lack of sleep and trying to work and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty good. Rob Beckett, thank you, that's it, yeah, Rob Beckett and Josh Widdicombe. Parenting Nightmares, I think it's called, something like that. But that's a good crack if you've got young kids. Have a listen. Gandalf, does sand cement render leave deep scratches in tree skin? If you used it all the time, mate, probably, yeah. I've only used it on rare occasions. Done that last video, this one up here. A lot about plasterers are worth the money. We're worth our weight in gold, boys and girls. Yeah, if you used it a lot, it would kind of scratch up the blade. As I don't know if it's Blackest Eyes or I think it was that sort of said, really you should be using something more rigid when you're ruling off, like a aluminium feather edge or even wood. Come to that, get a flatter finish. But yeah, I'm for the small areas like that, and for how rarely I do rendering nowadays, I'll just whack a speed skim. Plastic blade, no, not metal. Plastic speed skim. Go for it. No, it's not highly recommended, but yeah, because if you push anything flexible, like using a flexible trowel too soon or to lay on finish, that's really going to look bad. But I found I haven't had any problems doing a little bit of rendering, and it off. But yeah, it would eventually scratch the blade if you use it all the time. Have you ever done any work with earth clay? I haven't, mate. I've a lot of the guys recently that I see on Stuart's Trout Talk that do all that kind of gear, and it looks really interesting. Quite into a lot of lime plastering becoming quite popular again to do. I don't know how much work is out there. Probably quite a bit, because so few people were doing proper lime plastering, as far as I could make out, compared to other guys that just do like bottom dabbing and skimming. But probably quite a call for it, and if you're any good at it or getting good at it, again, it's another good string to have guys as a earning good money and a quality job on it. But I haven't personally made none at the end of the day. Yeah, it's lovely that fire, mate. It's lovely, and always keeps the. That's why I used to have backgrounds in like the tube station and stuff like that, but I much prefer it in the pub, and a bit of an atmosphere, and yeah, it's just nice to sit in the pub, have a drink, have a sit by the fire, talk about plastering related stuff, mostly. as I say, the next Ask the Plasterer is on the 27th, so it's just after Christmas and Boxing Day and stuff. And yeah, if I don't forget, I will fire up the old PC and get cracking. Right, it's 8:20 now, guys. I'm going to go until about 8:30, about normal. And then, for those that don't know, this goes out as a video after the live stream. I don't remember if it instantly goes out or whether it takes a little while, but it doesn't take long. And then it takes about a day before I can download it, convert it into a podcast, which is available on wherever you get your podcast from. Just go on your platform and type in Ask the Plasterer, and all the plastering live streams that I put up as podcasts will be there, and it's quite easier to listen to them wherever, especially if you're at work. If they're a podcast, as opposed to having to have a YouTube app open on your phone or whatever, and there's no adverts or anything like that, so that's all good. So that's available. My Plasterer's Music podcast show, I'm working on that. There's a bit of a kind of a demo out there, but it's a bit rubbish, but it just give you an idea of what I'm trying to achieve. and there is my Discord site, which is there's invites to that in all my video links have got it in it near the top somewhere. Look for Discord Ask the Plasterer, it will say. If you click on that, you'll get sent an invite, and you can join us on that forum where you can chat to me or most of the regulars that are on here tonight that come along every fortnight. And but you can chat to them and me any day of the week on there and pictures and stuff to each other, and just chat about the kind of jobs we're on, whether they're great, whether they're those shit jobs we go, oh guys, look at this, and send a photo just to get a bit of moral support to make you feel not so bad. It is quite warm, mate, actually, that fire. Yeah, but I've got used to it. I've got a bit of suntan on the back of my neck because I've been sitting by it for the last few weeks now. James, what's your opinion on tarpaulin for floor protection? Have you used it much in any of your jobs? The only time I put tarpaulin down, mate, again, that's on that video that I put up about floating and setting, where I put all plastic up against the, like, by the water room up, so the dust was only in that kind of area. And because I was taking down the old render that they had on the wall, rather than just put kind of plastic down, I stuck tarpaulin down there first. I take that like a lot across the carpet, and it's like going on the carpet. The amount of dust that could go into a carpet if you don't protect it properly. I put tarpaulin down there, and then I put my plastic and I taped it down proper. Then I put my plastic over the top of that for a bit of extra protection. And that's the only time I normally put a tarpaulin down on the floor. You can do. The only trouble is with the tarpaulin, you are looking at probably having to wash it all off after if you want to like fold it up and use it again. Whereas I like to just chuck my plastic away, which isn't very eco-friendly. But I've been doing that for a long time now, and I'll spend at least an hour on a lot of jobs putting all the plastic down properly because of how much time it saves at the end of a job. Leaves it pucker and clean and leaves the customer very, very happy with what you've done. Assuming your plastering's okay as well, obviously. But if you do the great plastering job and mess up anyone's carpet, they're still not going to be happy. So no, tarpaulins, that is an idea. So say I use it occasionally, or plastic then on top of that as well. Or if it's a hard but fancy floor, not just floorboards, I will buy the black tough stuff boards you can put down, thin corrugated ones, and then put my plastic and tape all those down to protect the hard floor, and then put my plastic over the top of that. But you can put as much protection down as you like. But tarpaulin, mate. But as I say, you will, unless you've got plastic over the top of the tarpaulin, which you can chuck out, you will have to wash all the plaster off the tarpaulin before you fold it up, and then obviously before you put it out on the next job, especially if you're putting it on a lovely carpet in someone's house. But yeah, nothing wrong with tarpaulin. Ivan, first time on here. Nice to have you, mate. Thanks for that. What motivated you to start this chat live? I've got a plastering channel. Sadly, I don't put up as many. Well, I did like plastering school videos and put videos up in and one night I thought, you know what, I'm going to try doing a live stream and with this format to it, and see how it goes. And if there's if someone talks to me, great. If there's nobody there and I'm on it for 5 minutes and I just think, oh, that was a bad idea. But the first night I did it, I was on there for about an hour, on here doing this for about an hour and a half. I didn't have quite so many friendly knobs and whistles on it, but yeah, it went quite well. And then I was just doing it maybe once a month or once every now and again. And then I asked the guys on the channel if I should do it more regularly. You know, should I do it once a fortnight? And it was a resounding yes for some reason. So yeah, I decided to do it on a regular date and time rather than it was a little bit periodical. When I did it, it kind of varied, but now it's like every other Monday, unless that falls on a massive holiday like a day or a bank holiday. I might, but I'll let people know that if it's not going to be on, it should be on every other week on a Monday from 7 o'clock to about 8:30. And yeah, it's gone really well ever since. And a lot of the guys, I don't know, they put up with it. They'll come and they'll stay for the full like hour and a half and chatting, asking questions, and it's just camaraderie is nice. It's nice to have, and it's nice to friendly on the old forum as well. And a lot of us are on who follow other good plasterers to watch their channels because yeah, because you can always learn something from different people and their techniques. It's just nice. And that's what started it and why I'm still doing it. And when I think, oh, perhaps they're getting a bit fed up with it, the guys will go, oh, I'm looking forward to Ask the Plasterer. And I think, oh, good. In that case, I will definitely keep doing it for the time being. I want one of those sexy Easy Mix hats. Oh, they are sexy, aren't they? God, I look alright plonker when I got mine on, but it keeps me head warm, mate. If I'm out, especially this time of year. Dear. I ain't got a t-shirt there. No, I thought that. I thought I might have got sent a t-shirt by now. But, yeah. Mind now, I only got to wear that in the summer anyway, aren't I? James, when working upstairs in a bedroom, do you tend to protect your walkway to the room, or would you take your shoes off like my brother does? It depends. If sometimes, I mean, generally, if I'm going to be in and out of a room and I'm going to have to walk on the carpet, I will stick some plastic down or just a trail of it that I can walk along. If I'm not really going to have to go out of a specific area, then I will take my we're talking about all stuff, getting all you get upstairs and then back down the stairs. As long as I know I can get my stuff up there cleanly, like I won't bother putting dust sheets all over the stairs. I will take my stuff up, and then when it comes to bringing it all out again, I will take my shoes off. I might even have a change of shoes and bring stuff down to make sure you don't tread any kind of plaster on the carpet, rather than drop dust sheets down. But it's as easy to drop dust sheets down onto the stairs, as long as they're clean dust sheets and you haven't used the right mucky old plastering job on the last set of stairs you might have plastered, and then decide, oh, I'll whack them down, because you're probably better off just taking your shoes off before you bring your stuff back out again. So yeah. Mark, yeah, have you ever had or forced patina on a carbon trout? It really helps to stop the rust. Post the pictures more on Discord. Yeah, do Mark. That'd be handy, mate. I don't think yeah. Yeah, no, there was a forced. But yeah, give us a picture, mate, and an explanation on the Discord, and I'll have to show. Keep up the good work. Cheers, mate, and hopefully I'll see you at the next one, or on the Discord site. As I say, there's links to our forum on the in all my videos. Just click on it, and it'll send you an invite, and follow the instructions, and I'll see you on that. Douse them in Coca-Cola, mate. Soak the carbon. Yeah. Good do. I prefer drinking it, mate, to soaking my trousers in it. And like I think I said last time, yeah, if I soaked my trousers in anything and I weren't on the motor, I'd go to a job and forget I haven't got them with me till I got there. Because I'm that kind of guy. For anyone that has just joined us, I'm here at the Plasterer. I've been Plasterer in South London for the last 37 years. But I've been on here since 7 o'clock, and if it goes on for too long, it gets boring for people that listen to it as a podcast. God, how long is that geezer go waffling on for? So an hour and a half is about good, and we're about that now. So what's it? 8:30. We started at 7. I'll be back here on the 27th, just after Christmas, and we can share what presents we've been given. Whether any of you might get a new trowel for Christmas, I don't know. I'll probably get socks and gloves and on pants. Oh yeah, as you do, you get older. Because when people ask me what I want, I never really think about it until it's a bit late, and I think, oh, actually, when it comes to plastering, maybe this, that, or the other, or when it comes to doing this, like the channel, some stuff that I could use, like tech-wise, and I don't think about it until it's too late, and people have already bought me socks and pants and other stuff. So cheers, guys. Have a lovely, lovely Christmas. Thanks, everyone. Anyone that's new that's come along tonight. Pleasure to have a chat with you. And yeah, I'll see you then. Have a lovely Christmas. And yeah, if you haven't stopped working yet, and you're working right up to Christmas Day, make sure you do have some time off between now and the New Year. And hopefully, if I don't forget, I will see you on the 27th. It's in a fortnight's time. And yeah, see how we're getting on. But I will probably see some of you other guys on the Discord, because obviously I'm on there all the time. And yeah, I was getting plastered. Yep, fair dues, mate, fair dues. Yeah, and you, James. Thanks, James. Thanks everyone for coming along. And again, I'll dig for my old diddly button to try and turn myself off. And I'm never going to find this quickly, am I? I mean, even now, it takes me ages to find the clock when I want to check what the time is. It's always down in the right bottom corner of your computer screen, and I still forget. Oh dear. Okay, well, I think this is Trevor. I'm fading out, and I'll see you all very soon. Thanks for coming along, guys. Always a pleasure. Speak later. Cheers. Whee.